friends, welcome back to my channel. And if you're new, welcome to my channel. My name is Jackie. And let's get started. For DIY number 1, I'm going to begin with this pack of mica powders that Arteza sent me. And there's 60 colors in here. Look at all these colors. Oh my goodness. Some are like oil spill, some are like a unicorn, most are metallic-y. And it's got these suggestions. You can make soap, you can make nail polish, eyeshadow, makeup, and epoxy. But you guys know me, I'm gonna do something different. You guys know. And this kit brings this cute little plastic clear spoon, so you can apply all these powders to wherever you would like to apply them. And I'm going to begin with one of these silicone egg molds. It's like Easter eggs and a couple of carrots and a bunny. And I'm also going to use a pack of these long Dollar Tree Crafter Square glue sticks. And I like these packs because they're pretty long. So for this kind of application, it's fantastic. So I'm going to load up my glue gun and I'm just going to have fun with these mica powders. I'm going to add little bits here and there just to create some interest on these Easter egg molds. These Easter egg molds have lots of little details and indentions on the molds themselves, so I'm just trying to add powders where I think it would look cute, so they look like this. Look at that. Okay, so now here's my hot glue gun, and the glue is nice and hot, so all I'm going to do is fill all these molds with this glue, this hot glue, and I'll just keep adding and adding and adding until they're completely full like this. Now I'm taking my silicone spatula to press down on the little bunny and on the carrots to help press it down a little bit more, because those are kind of a smaller little like wells. The eggs were pretty deep and I think they're looking great, so I'm not going to push those down. But look, and I'm just going to set this aside while all the glue sets. It's going to take a while. In the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing with this little mold with all the little bees. And this time I'm going to use this color black because I'm going to use a gold glue stick. It's like a glitter glue stick from the Dollar Tree. So I'm going to use that for the yellow. And so I figured I'll just use some of this for the black. And my glue gun that I'm going to use has a little bit of clear glue left inside the tip, so I'm going to actually use some of the yellow on a couple of these little bee molds. But I probably should have used 3 because I thought I had enough for just 2, but I actually had enough clear glue for 3 of these little bees. But it all works out in the end. And once all the clear glue was done coming out, then the glittery gold glue started coming out, and so I went ahead and filled the rest of these little bee wells with the gold until they look like this. And so I went ahead and pressed these down because these are small areas, and so they have a lot of details, and I wanted all the details to show. So I'm just pushing them down with my silicone spatulas. I don't want to get my fingers burnt. So I'm going to set these aside so the glue is set, and in the meantime I'm going to go ahead and unmold these Easter eggs. So I'm just going to gently pull up, and look at that. Oh, look how pretty. Oh my goodness, it's so beautiful. I love the shine, I love the glistening. And so I just go ahead and continue to remove all these out. I don't show you them all up close because I wasn't sure if I was getting up close enough to the camera. My camera likes to get blurry when I get too close. So, but you'll see them better at the final reveal for sure. But look how adorable. Oh my goodness. So I went ahead and just removed them all. And I had to be very careful removing them because I didn't want to disturb the mica powders that are on the top. I still haven't sealed them yet. I'll definitely be sealing them up with a sealer. Look at the little bunny. Oh my goodness, so cute. Oh, so cute. And the little carrots. Oh my goodness, just adorable. And I had enough mica powder in these molds to do a second round. So I went ahead and left all the mica powders that were in that mold, and I filled it up again, and I did that off screen. And here are the little bees. Look how adorable. Oh my goodness. So I went ahead and took all those out. I didn't use all of these bees for this project and I'll save them for another video coming up for sure, one for bees. But here they are, looking super cute. In the meantime, I'm taking one of these decor pieces from Family Dollar. It was $1, and I'm going to go in with my Waverly Antique Wax, give it a good paint, and a craft stick as well. And now here are my pieces that I just did, all my hot glue and mica powder pieces, and this is the sealer I used, the Aleene's acrylic gloss spray, and I did 2 coats, and look how cute. Oh my goodness, they came out so nice. Even the second round came out fantastic. I did not add extra mica powders. So here I'm going to place them where I think I want them on this wood piece, on my base, and they almost fit perfectly with the form of this wood piece. Look at that. So I went ahead and glued them on there, and now I'm taking this craft stick and I'm gluing that on there, and I'm just going to add a little bit of Spanish moss here and there just to give it a real rustic look. And then I decided to add some Spanish moss to the base of this piece because I had plenty more Easter eggs. So hey, yeah, there's Easter eggs in the basket, and then there's Easter eggs down on the ground, just nestled in the moss. So I added the little bunny up on the middle and the little carrots here and there, and look how adorable. Oh my goodness, this is such a family friendly, fantastic activity for the children, for sure, for the whole family. Added a couple little bees, and the possibilities are endless with these. Oh my goodness. So here I'm just taking a piece of burlap ribbon, and I'm just creating a quick little bow with a little bit of jute twine and tying it in a double knot, cinching it in the center, securing it with that double knot, and removing the excess. And I do remove a couple of little strands on the bottom of the tails just to make it look a little bit more rustic. And I'm going to hot glue that and adhere it to the very top of my basket, bringing it to life. And here's how it looks, and a closer look at the final reveal. For DIY number 2, Arteza also sent me this 48 pack of real brush pens, and they are filled with water-based ink. And look at all these colors. Oh my goodness, these are so beautiful. And I gotta tell you, I had so much fun with these. I had so much fun. And yes, each pen has a brush tip. These are amazing. So look at all these colors. So it also brought this water brush pen. So you fill this up with water so you can blend colors. And so here I'm just going to fill it up with my spray bottle. So I'm just going to squeeze it a few times until it's halfway full of water. And so now we're ready to go. So I'm going to begin with this piece of watercolor paper that I happen to have in my stash, and this really pretty bunny stamp. And I'm going to use my ink pad and ink it up. Oh, and I'm using a stamping platform for this stamp because this stamp is pretty large. So after I got it all inked up, I went ahead and pressed it onto my watercolor paper. But you know, sometimes things don't work out right, but that's okay. We'll do it again. Put some more ink, and this time I went and lined it up better and put my hand underneath the paper to help press the paper up very gently. Kind of rubbed it, and that worked much better. So now I'm ready to go. I waited a little bit for the ink to set, and now I'm going to go in with my water brush to kind of wet the watercolor paper a little bit. And now, using a variety of these brush pens, I'm going to just take my time, relax, and start coloring this little bunny and all the flowers and greenery. So I just go back and forth with the brush pens and the water pen to help wet the paper, and also to help blend some of the colors. And I have to say, I am not an artiste by any means, but with using these, I sure felt like I was. It was pretty great. A lot easier than using any markers or color pencils or crayons or anything. This was just very delightful. And now, while I'll allow that ink to dry, I'll begin with my base on this project. And I'm using one of these little house forms from the Dollar Tree, and I'm removing the backing and all the paper, and I'm taking my little sander and sanding off all the excess on the frame itself like this. It comes off really easily. And now I'm going to take this glue stick and press a good layer of glue all over this surface. And here's my little bunny masterpiece. And I just press that down onto the base, allow that to dry. In the meantime, I'm taking some Waverly antique wax and giving this piece a full coat. And now I'm going to go in with this metal ribbon that I found at the Dollar Tree. And I want to give this little frame a little bit of interest, make it a little bit ornate, just to give it that little bit of a garden feel. So I'm just taking some of this ribbon and I'm taking my EMT shears, which cut through this really easily, snipping off a little piece for one side of the roof and doing the same for the other side, snipping that off. And my original plan was to go along this whole edge with this ribbon. So here I am kind of mitering the corner for the roof. And so you'll see here that I'm also going to cut enough of this metal ribbon for the two sides, but I do end up changing that. I just felt that adding the two sides would make the frame look a little too narrow, so I just decided to not add them, and I'll save these pieces for another time. But I do add the bottom piece. The bottom piece definitely made it look like it was something you'd find in the garden. So here now I'm just going to adhere everything. I'm going to use some E6000 and a little bit of glue, hot glue, to help adhere these pieces. And I also use some clamps that I got from Dollar Tree in the laundry section. They are for hanging up your clothes for like a line, but I like those clamps because they are pretty wide and they open nice and wide, as opposed to the metal clamps that you find in the Crafter Square section, or even the ones you find in the automotive section. These laundry clips are much wider. So here I'm just pressing this down, and here's where I use those clamps I'm talking about. Look at that, they open nice and wide and they hold everything perfectly. And now I'll just add the one on the bottom, and this one I'll just do some E6000. I skip the hot glue. I felt like the clamps were doing a good enough job. And I'm liking this look. I'm liking the look of the ornate top and the ornate bottom. And you see where the clip just popped off. So here it is, nice and dry. Remove all my clamps. Everything's looking great. Removed some of these pieces that were sticking up. I just snipped them off. They were looking like they were just sticking out. So here's where I had a second thought, and I thought, nope, too narrow. So now I'm just gonna adhere my picture that's on this backing, and I'm just gonna add a little bead of glue here, a little bead of glue there, and a tiny little bit on the bottom, just enough to adhere everything together. And I use good glue, so this will hold it perfectly. So now I'm gonna go back in with the antique wax by Waverly. I'm just gonna add it to the metal ribbon just to give it a little bit of a aged look, because even though the silver was a little muted, it wasn't so shiny, it was a little bit matte, it was a little bit too silver. So I just want to add a little bit of this antique wax. And now I'm going to go in with the Waverly chalk paste and the color plaster to give everything a nice dry brush. So I do all the metal and I do all the wood, and that way everything has a nice combined look. Nice rustic look. Everything looks nice and weathered and aged. So now I'm pretty happy with it. So now all I have to do is add a few little florals, and I went in with this little bouquet and this little floral here, and that is it. Here's how it looks in a closer look at the final reveal. At DIY number 3, I'm going to use this pack of color your own Easter eggs from the Dollar Tree. They're made out of wood. And I'm just going to, I started using the 2, but I ended up just doing the 1. And first I'm going to give it a full coat of the Waverly antique wax, and I did mix it with a little bit of water just so it will be a little bit thinner. And I like that look. I like how it makes it look very rustic. So now I'm going to go in with my water brush and the brush pens and color all these parts, these different colors. and I just take my time and just relax. Like I said earlier, this is very relaxing, and the end result is always so beautiful. And everything will be linked in my description box, and there's actually a 10% off coupon code in my description box if you're interested in checking out these products and whatever other products that they have. And I think these would make a great gift for anybody, for any young adult, any teenager, any child. These are super easy to use and so much fun. And if you're into coloring pages for relaxation, I think you'll love this. This is really, really, really nice. So I just keep coloring and taking my time and get everything the way I want it. I don't want to add too much color. Like I said, I'm going for a more of a neutral Easter look in this video. And if I add too much water with my water pen, I do go with my napkin and just wipe it down a little bit. So now that I'm all done, everything's dry, I'm going to go in with my Waverly chalk paint and the color plaster, and I'm going to give everything a nice dry brush just to give it that aged look. And I'm very happy with the way it came out. The only thing I don't like is the very back where you see the wording on the wood piece, but I'm going to conceal that with some of this burlap ribbon from the Dollar Tree. I'm just going to add a dab of glue, and I'm going to go across to kind of conceal that whole two-line wording on there. And so this will do two purposes. It'll cover that up, and this will make the egg two-sided as well. So you can use the side that's got all the coloring, or you could use the back side that is absolutely 100% neutral with no coloring at all and just a burlap ribbon. So I'll do the bottom, and I'll do the same thing to the top. And here's how it looks, and a closer look at the final reveal. For DIY number 4, I'm going to use a pack of these 3D egg decor, and these came from Dollar General. And so there's 2 sets of eggs here, and they create a 3D egg. And I'm going to go in with the Waverly Antique Wax and give all 4 pieces a full coat. And again, I used a little bit of water to help thin out the antique wax. That way it gives it a nice rustic look. And now I'm ready to give them a little bit of life. So here I'll go in again with the water brush, add a little bit of water, and the brush pens in these colors. And I'm going to outline the butterflies at this point. The flowers, I decided to just do a little bit of the dry brushing with the plaster. So here they are, all nice and done. I did both sides, and I did different colors. And here's my plaster chalk paint by Waverly, and I'm going to give everything a nice dry brush and mostly focus on the flower parts, the cutouts, and a little bit of the insides of the butterflies. I wanted the outsides of the butterflies to have the color and the inside outline edge to have a little bit of the plaster, just to give it more interest. And so here they are, nice and ready. Look how cute. So now it's time to put them all together, and they're super easy to put together. You just basically take the 2 and you insert them in this manner, kind of like paper dolls. You remember the paper dolls from way back when? So here's the other 2. Just put them together like so. Don't need to hot glue them or anything. They'll stay. And here I'm just going to add a couple of these small burlap bows that I created for these 2 eggs. And I'll just adhere them to the tops of these 3D eggs. And I'm also going to add a little bit of embellishments with these little buttons. I love stacking buttons together for embellishments for my bows. So I'm using a brown button for this one and a tiny little yellow button for the taller egg. And I'm going to use a brown button and a tiny purple button just for interest on the smaller egg. And I'll just adhere this to the top or the center of my bow. Look how adorable. They came out so cute. And here's how they look. And a closer look at the final reveal. For DIY number 5 and my last DIY, I picked up this light up piece from Family Dollar. It was only $3, a great deal. It lights up. And I'm going to go in with the Waverly Antique Wax, and I'm just going to go around the edge, the frame edge of this piece, and also the sides and the back until it looks like this. And now for the inside, I'm going to go in with my brush pens, of course, So here they are, I'm lining them all up. I decided to use these 6 here in particular. And again, I'm just going to relax and just enjoy the process of these brush pens. And another thing that I really like about these pens is that if I go a little dark like I did here, all I have to do is add a little bit of water with this water brush and it blends it all very nicely. So I'll just continue this process until it looks like this. Oh, and also you can check out the Arteza YouTube channel for some inspiration, and I'll add those links up here in the iCards. Now I'll just do some dry brushing with my plaster until it looks like this. Look at this, it looks fantastic. And now all I have to do is create a little bow, and I'm using this ribbon from the Dollar Tree that the colors are almost exactly the same as the colors I used. Definitely unintentional, it just happened that way. So I'm just gonna create a quick little bow, cinch it in the center, and take a nice piece of jute twine to tie it up. And I'll just go around and tie it up in a double knot until it creates my bow. And now I just snipped off the excess jute twine, fluff up the bow, and of course dovetail both of the ends just to give it that high-end look. And now all I have to do is adhere it to the top of my frame. And first I was thinking I was going to do the center, but then I decided to do the corner. So I just place it here on the very corner. And now that it's all finished, we need to light it up and see how it looks. So I'll flip it over and remove the little tab for the battery, turn it on. Look at that, beautiful. Here's how it looks without the lights. And here it is with the lights. Super cute. Now we're at the final reveal. Let me know what you guys think. Well, I'll take a moment and thank Arteza for sending me these fantastic products. I had a lot of fun creating with them, and I hope you guys enjoyed this video. And if you did, please give me a thumbs up. I'd really appreciate it. And don't forget to subscribe if you haven't yet. And until my next video, stay healthy, safe, and strong, and have a great day. Bye-bye.